RHONJ Melissa and Joe Gorga start business with Teresa's enemy. The feud between Real Housewives star Teresa Giudice and Joe and Melissa Gorga just got a little less likely to resolve anytime soon. Teresa's feud with her brother and his wife has been a central plot point on RHONJ for over a decade. The siblings had a falling out that stemmed from jealousy. Teresa accused Melissa of being a gold digger and alleged she drove a wedge between her and her brother. Her brother and sister-in-law are teaming up with an enemy of Teresa's for a new business venture. The RHONJOG has a lot of enemies, so keep reading for all the juicy details. Melissa and Joe Gorga start business with Teresa's enemy. The feud between the RHONJ stars escalated over the years, with multiple confrontations and accusations played out on the show. Things came to a head when Melissa and Joe didn't attend Teresa's wedding to Louis Rulas. By the time of the RHONJ Season 14 premiere, Teresa had officially severed ties with her brother and his wife. Teresa Giudice also found herself in a heated feud with Rachel and John Fuda. The tension began when Teresa publicly accused John of being a drug dealer. This explosive claim led to a war of words between the two couples. Things escalated when John accused Louis Rulas of hiring a private investigator to dig up dirt on his past. Rachel Fuda fired back at Teresa, calling out her fake friendships with her co-stars. The drama spilled over onto social media, with Teresa publicly slamming Rachel and her husband. According to Mio.com, Joe and Melissa Gorga are partnering with the Fudas for a new business venture. The couples are teaming up for Glam Studios, which provides studio space for entrepreneurs to rent to meet with clients. Are John and Rachel Fuda returning to RHONJ? Despite the animosity, Teresa claimed she initially had no problem with the Fudas and wanted to befriend them. However, the damage was done, and the feud between Teresa Giudice and the Fudas became a central storyline in Season 14. At this point, there may not be a Season 15 of RHONJ. The show is reportedly on pause while the network figures out who stays and who goes. John Fuda reportedly said they aren't sure if they want to stay in such a toxic environment, especially because of his wife's pregnancy. Melissa and Joe Gorga sat on their sprawling backyard patio, sipping espresso as they mulled over their next business venture. The Gorga name had become synonymous with real estate, flipping houses, and making a splash on social media, but Melissa had been itching for something new. The latest season of The Real Housewives of New Jersey had wrapped, but Melissa felt like there was more to explore beyond the Bravo cameras. "Joe, I want to expand," Melissa began, tapping her perfectly manicured nails against the porcelain cup. "We need something fresh, something that's going to set us apart." Joe leaned back, a mischievous grin playing on his lips. "I might have just the thing, Mel, but you're not gonna like it." Melissa raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "Try me." Joe pulled out his phone and flashed a text from an unexpected source, Margaret Josephs. Margaret's been working with this new up-and-comer in the fashion industry, Bella Romano. She's young, ambitious, and best of all, she can't stand Teresa. Melissa's eyes widened. "Teresa's enemy? You mean to tell me there's someone else in Jersey who can't stand my sister-in-law?" Joe nodded, chuckling. "Seems like Teresa burned her over some charity gala last year. Bella had planned this huge event, and Teresa bailed last minute because of family obligations. Code for hanging out with Louis." Melissa's mind raced. A partnership with Bella would be controversial, maybe even incendiary. But it also held the promise of independence from Teresa's looming shadow. It was no secret that tensions between the Gorgas and Giudices had reached a boiling point, and this could be the perfect opportunity to set themselves apart. "I want to meet her," Melissa said resolutely. "Let's see if we can make some magic happen." The next week, they arranged a meeting at Envy, Melissa's boutique. Bella Romano arrived with a commanding presence despite her petite frame. Her dark hair was slicked back into a sleek ponytail, and she wore a tailored suit that screamed power and sophistication. "It's a pleasure," Bella greeted, extending a manicured hand. "I've heard so much about you two." "Only the good things, I hope," Melissa quipped, exchanging pleasantries. As they settled in, Bella pulled out her portfolio. She specialized in luxury loungewear, a niche market that had exploded since the pandemic. Her designs blended high-end fashion with the comfort of everyday wear, a concept Melissa found immediately appealing. "I think we could create a line that combines your style, Melissa, with my designs," Bella proposed. "We'll call it Glamour by Gorga." Melissa's eyes sparkled at the idea. The line would cater to women who wanted to look fabulous even in their downtime, perfect for Instagram snaps and casual brunches alike. "I love it," Melissa exclaimed. "What do you think, Joe?" Joe nodded. "This could be big. And with Margaret's connections, we could get into some major retail stores." The trio spent hours hashing out ideas, discussing marketing strategies and planning a launch party that would surely make waves in the Jersey social scene. Bella's ambition was palpable, and Melissa couldn't help but feel a kinship with her. They were both determined women navigating a world that often tried to box them in. The day of the launch party arrived, and it was nothing short of a spectacle. Held at a chic rooftop bar in Hoboken, the event was a fusion of elegance and edge. The Gorgas were front and center, mingling with influencers, buyers, and media personalities. Even Margaret made an appearance, her blonde curls bouncing as she regaled guests with stories of Bella's rise to fame. But the real surprise came when a familiar figure walked through the doors, Teresa. Her entrance caused a hush to fall over the crowd, and for a brief moment, all eyes were on the sisters-in-law. Teresa approached Melissa, her expression unreadable. "I heard about your new business," she began. "Didn't know you were teaming up with Bella." Melissa stood tall, refusing to let Teresa intimidate her. "It's a great opportunity, Teresa. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are best for you." Joe quickly stepped in, his tone diplomatic. "We're just expanding our horizons, Trey. No hard feelings." Teresa forced a smile, though it didn't reach her eyes. "Well, good luck. Just remember, family comes first." Melissa watched her walk away, the weight of Teresa's words hanging in the air. But instead of feeling guilty, she felt liberated. For the first time, she was making moves for herself. Not for Joe, not for Teresa, but for Melissa Gorga. As the night wore on, orders for Glamour by Gorga poured in, proving that the risk had been worth it. Bella clinked her glass against Melissa's, the two women sharing a triumphant smile. "Here's to new beginnings," Bella toasted, "and to building our empire, one fabulous outfit at a time." Melissa nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. She was done playing second fiddle in the Teresa show. From now on, it was all about the Gorga brand, bold, unapologetic, and ready to take on the world. Under the neon glow of their new storefront sign, Gorga Grind, Melissa and Joe Gorga stood proudly, surveying the crowd that had gathered for their grand opening. They had poured heart, soul, and quite a bit of money into this new venture, a trendy coffee shop in the heart of Montclair, New Jersey. But what had really stirred the pot wasn't the artisanal brews or the chic decor, it was their choice of business partner. Standing beside them, with a perfectly frosted smile, was none other than Caroline Manzo. For years, Caroline had been at odds with Teresa Giudice, Joe's sister. Their feud was legendary in Jersey circles, a saga of betrayal, harsh words, and fractured friendships. But business was business, Joe had reasoned, and if anyone could help them navigate the gritty world of New Jersey's entrepreneurial scene, it was Caroline. As the crowd shuffled inside, sipping on espresso shots and nibbling on cannoli, Melissa felt the familiar buzz of excitement and nerves. She knew Teresa wouldn't take this lightly. In fact, she expected her sister-in-law to show up at any moment, ready to unleash a storm. But as the minutes ticked by and no sign of Teresa emerged, Melissa began to relax, mingling with guests and influencers snapping photos for their feeds. Joe, meanwhile, was deep in conversation with Caroline, discussing plans for expansion. They envisioned turning Gorga Grind into a franchise, with locations across New Jersey and beyond. Caroline, ever the strategist, had contacts and a keen sense for what would sell. "You've got to think bigger," Caroline was saying, her eyes glinting with the thrill of competition. "This isn't just about coffee. It's about creating a lifestyle brand. We'll sell the Gorga name, the image. People will eat it up. Joe nodded, a grin spreading across his face. I like the way you think, Caroline. Just then, the glass door swung open, and a familiar figure strode in. Heads turned, whispers spread like wildfire. Teresa had arrived. Dressed to the nines, with a determined glint in her eye, she made a beeline for her brother. "So this is it," Teresa said, her voice deceptively calm. "Your big idea? Teaming up with her?" She shot a glance at Caroline, whose smile never wavered. It's not like that," Joe started, his hands raised in a placating gesture. "This is business. Caroline knows her stuff, and we want this to be successful."